Welcome to another edition of the Husker Fans of Montana podcast. I'm Ricky J here with BB and Carl. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, Rick.
Good evening, guys.
How's it going? We got a win.
It's good.
We won.
Yeah, a win is good.
A win is always good.
But and speaking of wins, what about that Miami team?
Oh, yeah. Gotta love my Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a lot of
70-20.
I love the coach.
Scoring at will.
Absolutely
I'm
love
so
the
glad
coach.
because I'm so glad he didn't go for the record because he said exactly what I thought. I said, no. That's going to be bad karma. If you go set the record. He said that in his press conference after the game. He goes, no, because there's something called karma because you don't stick it to people like that. There was no
He
need.
stuck it enough.
Well, he didn't. Well, he didn't really. I mean, he took knees and had backups in and everything else.
Boy, is Denver that bad?
Boy, it seems like it. Boy, they just
Rough, huh?
porous.
That one picture with all their defenders like laying in a line.
Lord.
I don't know if you've seen that on social media, but that's classic.
We had some good blowouts. We had Oregon laying it
Oregon.
to Colorado.
Thumping on Colorado.
This was not a good week for Colorado football.
No. I think, matter of fact, I'm not sure who's worse, Colorado or the Broncos. I think Colorado could give them a run.
Don't get Sanders started. He might want to.
Right.
Well, I spent 3 days out of cell service, out doing some fishing, and it was awesome. But
Good for you.
just got back today and have pulled together a few Husker headlines. So let me go through those. Huskers improved to 2-2 with a win over Louisiana Tech, 28-14. Nebraska leads the nation in rushing defense, and the Huskers are number 6 in the nation in rushing offense. They lead the Big Ten in both categories. Linebacker Rook Reimer is questionable for the game due to an injury. Number 2, Michigan comes to Lincoln on Saturday, September 30th at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and you can watch it on Fox. The starting QB remains undecided. Will it be Harburg or Sims? That's a big question we'll pose at some point today. Who will start against Michigan? So, gentlemen, those are kind of our news items. So we're going to do our normal news segment, chit-chat about news, whatever else you guys have heard, and then we'll go into the post game of our last win. And like you said, wins are good. Even on the pro, your pro team won. So that's why. Is that why that you're just happy? That's why there's no whiskey today.
Well, no, I just decided not to have any whiskey
It's
tonight.
a beer day.
There you go.
It's a beer day.
I like it.
It's
It's
a
a beer
day.
day.
Speaking of beer, I'm enjoying a Miner's Gold from Lewis Clark Brewing Company.
Absolutely.
There it is.
A
What do you
favorite.
got, BB?
I've got the. I'm a Pilsner guy, as you know, kind of a lightweight, but the Pompeii Pilsner is absolutely delicious. You should absolutely try this beer if you're a lighter side of beer
Right.
kind of guy or gal. This is definitely a beer for you.
Carl.
Halo, the Huckleberry Hefeweizen. That's my
No
one of my
Montana
favorites.
Tech alum should be without one. Just kidding.
Well, I do have my Tech shirt on.
Do they have a Tech beer? Somebody should have a Tech beer.
Somebody should.
Probably a
It's called
unmentionable competitor.
I'm sure we could work that out with him.
It's called Butte Water. You ever go to the
You survived that.
go to the Mo Club. They call it Colt Anderson. They called it Butte Water. It's Huckleberry, vodka, and lemonade.
Well, there you go. So we're getting a mixed drink moment anyway. Out of
That's right.
Yeah. So what about this news item? Something to celebrate. I mean, we got to take a moment to celebrate that the Nebraska defense is number 1 in the nation in rushing defense, and also we're number 6 in rushing offense. So those are pretty good deals.
Very, definitely.
Yeah,
But it does kind of we were worried about our secondary, and that definitely kind of brings that up. It's like, yeah, we're stopping the run, but how much of it is it that we're stopping the run or teams are throwing?
Every team we played so far has tried to run until they couldn't run.
Right.
So every one of them.
So the one storyline that concerns me a little is Reimer. I hope it doesn't turn out to be something a little more serious than than just got banged up or something. I don't know. Was it a concussion? Did you hear?
I didn't know.
Whatever it is, I hope it's nothing that's long lasting.
I didn't even hear what the injury was.
Right.
I've just heard because of an injury.
There were some posts on social media that it may have been concussion, but that's just speculation. So
Gotcha.
yeah, no idea for sure. But,
What's the protocol on that now? Just the doctor looks at him?
well, there's
clears
that,
him?
but you may, they definitely leaning towards taking you out. It's not like the old days where it's get
Which they
back in
did. I
here.
mean, he came out for
yeah,
the game.
but I
so-
mean, even in
Is it-
a week or so.
Does he need a note from his mother? Something like
Probably.
that? Probably, okay.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, anything else on there that any news you may have heard, you guys that have
No, my only one is I don't understand the question about the quarterback. I think Harburg should get the shot.
Well, I don't think Sims is healthy to
Well, he went in for a
be
play.
honest with
They
you.
threw him in
He's-
for a play.
taken the
yeah,
reps.
but he didn't look 100% even on that. So
All right. Any other news items you gentlemen have picked up this week?
Now the quarterback thing is the only thing I think Harburg should get start.
well, and I think he will. I just didn't see. They brought in Sims for the one play, which they ran like it was a quarterback keeper, and then they tell us afterwards his ankle is bad. To me, he looked bad. He didn't look to me like he was running, well at all. And then it was a busted play anyway. That was all screwed up. But and I think the team kind of is rooting for Harburg. To be honest with you, they seem to rally to him. So
Well, we have the coach's response to the defense's ratings.
You guys are number 6 in rush offense and number 1 in rush defense. What does that say about your team to this point?
Well, it's a step in the right direction for the blueprint of what we want to do. I'm not a super big stats guy in that. I think sometimes they can be misleading, but I do think it for a team that was, I think, 108th last year in rush defense, and it's not like we played, we played a Big Ten team, we played a Pac-12 team, we faced a team in Northern Illinois, so we faced some good teams. I think it's trending in the right direction. This is a team that's going to come in that's going to try to prove a point on the ground against you and run the ball at you, and so guys have to be up for the challenge. But just from a 50,000-foot view, what we're doing, the blueprint that we want to have is moving in that direction. So we just have to keep accelerating it each week.
How does it? What does it say about your practices, especially those?
So I think that's the right attitude to have. Like, hey, at the end of the year, we'll celebrate it when we finally figure out where we end up. But it's been a long time for Nebraska to be nationally ranked in anything, for a while. So
no, I think they are strong. Our defense has been pretty good. I was a little, I don't know if confused or just not in the know with the defensive scheme the last game. Thought it was fairly vanilla. We didn't see a lot of blitzes and things that I thought, and it maybe we're just holding on to that, till later in the year, or against different competition or whatever. So,
well, we have about 5 minutes of the game, so I'll just put that on and feel free to comment on it.
With injuries to Gabe Urban and Ramir Johnson, Anthony Grant is the tailback, and Harburg is under pressure, and down he goes. Brevin Randall, linebacker.
what do you think of the offensive line play? Because there were times like this, I wasn't impressed, and I don't know if there seemed to be some confusion at times.
But then you have like that. I mean, that's a great run.
He's got wheels. I mean, he
yeah,
can hold
definitely.
us.
It does.
That one when he goes for the touchdown is, and that's nice.
Yeah, for a second, I thought,
Yeah.
is that Buddy?
I thought it was Buddy. Yeah.
I could tell because the cleats were black that it wasn't, but good for Bleak Road. That's
Yeah. And that's not an easy route to run right there, so he did a great job getting around there. But you're right, it's cool for Bleak Road to have something.
Did Buddy do the kickoff there?
they've been swapping him. That is him, and this is his tackle attempt.
Okay, we do have to
Tackle
say,
attempt.
if you're going to tackle, don't basically turn into the lead blocker for
Right.
For the other
he took
team.
out like 4 guys
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Unfortunately, none of them were carrying the football.
right.
I think he learned his lesson last year when he put his shoulder into that guy and
Yeah.
laid him out pretty good.
against Illinois and one against Michigan State. Right now they have 3rd and 7. Going for a
Oh, boy. Pretty open there.
Yeah.
Where was number 8?
Yeah.
A kickoff return for touchdown a little bit ago, negated by penalty, but that is a first down catch. Harris is the middle man of those three in that bunch formation.
This was not as easy a victory as I think it should have been.
Well, this being in the first, I thought the first half, the tackling was a little bit, well, it was a little sloppier than what we had seen. It was, gave me nightmares of last year and the year before.
Nice run.
I loved that we were doing this option look.
Yeah, he's got some wheels because he's outrunning the DBs.
Yeah.
4-3.
Yeah.
4-3 40 for him.
Well, they talked
that
about
size,
this was flagged, but they said, hey, Coach Rule was saying, we're, pretty sure that our receivers were blocking correctly. But,
A lot of flags there for
crazy
of
the
this
number of
game.
flags.
So they can't really get their hands on them. They're playing off anyway.
Once again, Eamon Johnson. And he'll stand for pass pro.
It's a really
It's a
good
nice
throw,
pass.
an amazing catch.
That's a nice tight spiral. That was a nice throw.
And it's down to the 33-yard line of Louisiana Tech. I formation.
That's the I formation.
The handoff is
Yeah,
And you know
Grant has
what?
a really
Man,
good
did it-
run.
There you go. I just really think it just works. Bringing in that fullback and letting him put that extra block, it just really seems to spring Grant.
Yeah,
Here's
good
another example.
Good for Grant.
Yes.
Hanging onto the ball.
Yep.
Here we go with the.
First and goal at the 1.
Yeah,
You just
it's
bring
good
that
series for
you
him.
bring that extra blocker in there where it's needed, and it just works.
They're going to say officially the 30 here. Second down and 9. Heinrich Harburg in a second start. Under pressure. Throws to Thomas Fidone.
It's a great catch.
Yep.
Decent throw under pressure. Great catch.
See, I think Harburg. I think Harburg can throw it. He can run it. I think he does well with the offense.
This one here, he just pulls away
Yeah.
from everybody.
There's no flags on this one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful play.
The offensive coordinator
Hey,
says,
what do? You pull this kid out? I mean, really?
yeah,
How do you pull
offensive
him
coordinator
out?
says he's got to get in better shape. It's awesome he's running like that, but
But he's tired after running 100
Yeah,
yards
he's
for a
tired.
touchdown.
Has Allen caught touchdown. Louisiana Tech.
Definitely a letdown, I thought, after the break.
Right.
He needs to work on his abs like his girlfriend does.
Spotting his
Right.
favorite target on that drive, number 1. You see those that stuck around through the 56-minute weather delay. To throw, Turner. Oh, and it's off the hands of DeCourse.
and that took care of the game.
Intercepted by
Nice.
Isaac Gifford.
So this is a very, very short,
You can't
obvious,
script for Louisiana Tech.
Gotta take a knee one more.
very short, condensed version of the game. But, you asked about the line, and I think it's hard to get to give the line too much criticism because of the amount of rushing yards and leading the Big Ten in rushing.
Yeah,
I mean, so that's awesome. But I do believe pass defense is still hurting, and they're can't get over either quick enough and pick up
The protection.
the guy they should. Yeah. So the protection for the line is still something they really need to work on.
Well, one thing too, I'm going to mention. I like special teams. Obviously, I follow it closely. I think Bleak Road. It just from a larger picture. Tristan Albano is going to be great. He's a true freshman, but he is not playing at a level that I would waste his redshirt year over. And so with the rules as they currently are, he gets 4 games, which he now has. I think the smart move at this point would be to sit Albano down, save his redshirt year, and put Bleak Road in, because I think Timmy will do as well as Albano is doing.
You mean miss kicks
Miss kicks.
as well?
Miss kicks. Yeah, make kicks as well. I'm a positive kind of guy. Yeah. But what are you? We're missing him now with a kid that's got a big future down the road for Nebraska. I think saving the year of football for not only for him but for the university.
Sure. But what if he doesn't want to? What if he wants to keep playing?
Well, of course he wants to play. It's not a
Coach's decision, though.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if he doesn't want to play, there's a problem. Of course he wants to play. He wants to get
No, I see what you're saying. I would say, unless I didn't think he was deserving of the spot,
well,
then I
would
leave him in there.
I don't see him doing anything that Bleak Road wouldn't do.
I would play and continue to play the best place kicker that I have. But
okay, and there was a battle for that. It came down. It was like a last-minute decision before the first game of the season with Minnesota.
Right.
So clearly, there's not a huge difference between these two guys. Then you can always bring him in later on. I mean, Bleak Road, it really, craps the bed and isn't doing well. Then it's nothing lost. But you are losing a season with one of the top young kickers in the country. And if it was me, I'd be looking to preserve that.
Sure.
If I could.
Sure.
So, thanks, Carl. Appreciate
You bet. You think I can do it?
With the nod of approval.
Any thoughts on that?
Crawl back in your halo. You're okay.
No, I don't know. I think it depends. If he was clearly having an excellent year, then
it would
then
be
waste the red
totally
shirt.
different conversation.
But if they're close like that, you're right.
He's missed.
Plus, kickers need maturity. I mean, because it's a mental game on some of these kicks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and Alvano is not doing that well. The kickoffs now were 2 games in a row with a kick out of bounds, both of them on him. And I know he's sharing duties with Buscini, which is kind of strange to me anyway. But that can bite you. If it's a close game, you're in the right. I mean, you don't want that happening. So, it's a pretty significant, that's the ball up to the 35-yard line. So, anyway, that's just my thoughts on special teams is the kicking game is not looking tremendous.
Right.
And I
thought the punting was better this game.
Punting was good. Yeah, really good, I thought. That, clearly the one that was down in there. I still don't see Brian with the big power that I know he has, and I'm not quite sure what that is. I've watched him long enough to know when he's getting his energy into the ball, and he had a lot of short field punts, which he did very well at. But I don't know what that is, and they haven't been bad. It was a good average, but I also know he's capable of really booming
Much
the ball.
better.
Yeah,
he's capable of more.
Well, here's Coach Rule on the game. Just a quick summary of his.
Credit to Louisiana Tech. I thought they came to play. They thought they didn't back down. We'd seen them be down 17-3 against Florida International, come back, win the game. We saw them down 17 last week, come back, tie the game. So we knew that they'd battle all the way to the end. Thought our guys hung in there. It wasn't our best game. But I think anytime we have 315 yards rushing, we're going to be excited about that. Thought some of the option plays were really good plays for us. The speed options allowed us to get on the perimeter. But there's still a lot of things to improve and clean up. So we'll keep battling away, trying to get better. I'm happy for the guys. They went 1-0 this week. They handled the rain delay. Very appreciative for everybody that came to the game, and certainly for the people that came back after the rain delay and were there to cheer us on to the very end. I appreciate them very, very, very much. So with that, I'll see what questions you have.
So that was kind of his take on the game, briefly.
Nice shout out to the fans who did endure the lightning delay.
Right, that's asking a lot.
That is. That's sitting around when you're cold, shivering for an hour, and not knowing when
and
they're
waiting for the
come
lightning to strike. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, clearly you have to clear the stands. I mean, obviously
They encourage. Yeah, I saw that they were doing that into the concourse area of the stadium.
Yeah, I probably would have been tempted to go ahead and get an early break out of there at that point. But no, great for the fans that did stay to come back in, and because clearly there was a loss of energy.
Did I mention, we did give away the free ticket last year. Jeff from Grand Island was the recipient of the free ticket.
So you finally got your message on Twitter, X, whatever it was.
We did got a nice comment that he
Nice.
enjoyed the whiskey hour.
And Ned, we've immediately cut it.
So anyway, I hope Jeff out there in Grand Island enjoyed the game and go Big Red.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's an awesome giveaway. What are you giving away this week?
I actually have 2 really crappy tickets in the visitors. No, that's not this game.
All right. So any thoughts on our game with Louisiana Tech?
We needed the win. We got the win. That's what was important. And I think Harburg looked good. Grant looked good. Didn't turn over. Russian defense was good. I think a few things we still have to work on, of course, like the line. But I thought it was pretty positive. I mean, anytime you walk out with a win.
Right. Yeah, and we had a couple of touchdowns called back, and this thing could have looked a lot different at a final score scenario. Just in general, I get so tired. This game, there were too many penalties. Some of them were penalties, and some of them were just people throwing yellow flags on the ground because I guess they get bored during the game. And I don't care any Saturday or Sunday when you watch this sport. It has become a flag fest. And nobody wants to see players hurt, and there's egregious penalties that need to be called. But there's also just, you can watch them slow motion 3-4 times, and you still go, well, I don't know.
Some of the pass interference calls.
Those flags need to stay in the pocket. And I challenge our viewers, go back and watch football 25, 30 years ago.
They were. I don't know if you saw any of the Sunday night game with the Raiders and the Steelers.
No, I missed that.
They went back and showed from the 70s.
Yeah.
With Jack Ham and Jack Lambert and Mean Joe Green and Otis Sistrunk and Hendricks where you were decapitated if you crossed over the middle and it was considered a good play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's high five.
Yeah. It's a different brand now.
And even with, some of those shots, I'm glad, there did need to be cleaning up some of that. But it's gone too far. I think the pendulum has swung so much. I did watch the Green Bay Saints game. It was another flag fest. And it just, I don't know if I'm overstating, but there's games you watch, every third play is a penalty.
Right.
So, you're just taking too much of the game into the hands of the officials. And so many of these penalties, if they are even a penalty, are on the other side of the field, completely away from the play, have nothing to do with anything.
The ones on the quarterback drive me crazy.
No.
I mean, you hit a quarterback and you hit him when he has the ball still, but if you put your weight on him, you get called for roughing the passer. I mean,
the pendulum has swung too far on that.
Yeah, I know. They're the money makers and all, and the pretty boys, but
and I get the late shot in the back of the head. Call that, but you're right. You can't fall on him. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I don't want Tua to be hit at all this year because I don't want another concussion. But
playing Denver, I don't think there's much risk of that.
No, there's right. But this week they play Buffalo. That's going to be a little different.
So anyway, that's my thought on officiating.
Well, there you go. Yeah. We can complain against the officials.
I love the coaches. They're kind of stuck in.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess then before we move on to the preview of our upcoming game against Michigan, let's talk a little Montana football. You guys have been talking some stuff up.
Let's not.
Earlier.
Bobby.
Was it hurtful?
Horrible.
Bobby.
Horrible. They looked so bad. Northern Arizona always plays them tough, but this is a 0-3 team. They had been beaten by Utah Tech the week before, who we handled pretty easily.
Right.
My God,
Bobby.
It's Bobby for sure, but our quarterbacks are not good. Vidlak has just not been playing well, and the backup is the one out of Central Arkansas. Clearly, he can run, but he can't throw the ball. I mean, it's really time to. And to be honest with you, one of the parts that I'm disappointed in was supposedly our strength was our offensive line.
Right.
And they are not opening up any gaps, and there's quarterback pressure, and I don't know. The Grizz are not good this year.
Bobby.
It's Bobby, and it's contract year.
Bobby didn't play, so he's probably got some eligibility. Maybe he could enlist, sign up for a couple classes and get himself out on the field.
Yeah.
There
Might
you
have
go.
a better appreciation for what he does and says.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan, as you can tell. And,
Yeah.
The shame of it is you have got a program historically and complete with the fan base, which is remarkable at the FCS level, Montana I'm talking about. You've got tremendous facilities. You have every ingredient you need to build a long-term, hugely successful program. And then you waste it with this head coach that you've brought back from failure, out of more failure, and he just brings nothing redeeming to it whatsoever. So if he was winning championships, you might, even though I would argue it's not worth it, tolerate the lack of character building and all of that. But when you're not even doing that, why are you sacrificing everything as the University of Montana for a name?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And there is a rumor out there, and it is a rumor.
Well, let's repeat it. If it's
Well, this is that Bobby is going to step down, and that he's taking
Today?
a look at at the end of the season.
Bobby is stepping down
And
today,
he's-
ladies
no,
and gentlemen.
It's a rumor.
here
It's a
first.
rumor. So I want to preface that,
I like it though.
and that he's going to take a coaching position in the SEC as a low. I mean, like film analyst type of stuff. I mean, but there is a rumor that he is looking at
What
at a
SEC
very
team
low.
would put him in
It's,
anything?
the one that I heard was Missouri.
Wow.
Now I don't know if there's any truth to that at all, but
As their press relations guy, maybe.
no.
Bobby had a great week with the press. If you haven't caught any of his press conferences, I'd encourage you to listen in. He's very insightful with his answers to the questions. Really hard hitting questions. It really, like
I have not heard any of it. so.
I would not do it justice. Let's just put it this way: as Bobby Haug's character and who he is on full display in the post-game press conference, and I would encourage people to watch.
Well, I understand Montana State is having a really good year. Anyone have any info on them?
No,
Boy,
Bobby.
I was actually surprised how easily they handled Weber State. I mean, 40-0, and Weber
Right.
State's a quality program.
Yep.
Now the Cats are loaded. It's I can't even picture what that November game in Missoula is going to be like, because I bet the Cats are just going to thump the crap out of the
It's going to
Grizz.
be rough, I'm afraid.
I think it is too.
But, they played South Dakota State's clearly one of the top contenders, one of the top
Oh.
teams. And, I mean, that game easily could have gone the other way. So,
And the thing that's amazing, they're still playing. Malott didn't play. Chambers
Right.
played the entire game,
right.
and he's looking good. So they're loaded.
Yeah.
Cats are loaded.
Well, does that pretty much sum up our Montana football segment then, or anything else on that?
Montana Tech looked good. They beat College of Idaho, which was a good win.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
I have not had a chance to watch them play this year, but I'm hearing they're actually,
No, Tech actually looked pretty good.
Carroll has improved
Yeah,
significantly.
they played some Arizona Christian, some team that
All right.
I don't think they've ever played before.
Well, Jim Harbaugh brings the number 2 ranked team into Lincoln this weekend, and that's at 1:30 Mountain Time. And again, that game is on Fox. And here is just a little bit of a coach rule on the game to get us started.
Excellent team, number 2 team in the country for a reason. So great opportunity for us, experience for us. We'll have to see tomorrow, Heinrich and Jeff, in terms of who can, how they practice. Obviously, Heinrich didn't finish the game. We don't think it's much, but I reserve judgment until I see him, see where Jeff's at. So we have a full picture on that. And Luke Reimer, still would be questionable for the game as we sit here right now. So we'll see. We'll see where he's at. With that, I'll see what questions you guys have.
This is going to be a great test to see how good our rush defense is, because Corum is one of the best running backs in the country for Michigan.
Yes.
And if they do shut him down, it'll be interesting, because then J.J. McCarthy is going to open up the passing game.
Right.
I mean, that's
it's hard, like you said, number 2 team in the country.
Right.
Michigan's one of the elite programs in the nation, always are, it seems to be, or mostly are. This year's no exception. The remarkable thing, too, for me is that the line, both sides of the ball, huge size, huge talent, speed,
athleticism.
Yeah, experience. Harbaugh brings up these guys, but they're ready to go really halfway through their sophomore year, most of these linemen. and so by the time they're actually seniors and on the field, they're just elite. And there's that depth. So
Yeah.
One guy, wishing no one ill, but one guy gets hurt and he's out. They got 2 more back ready to go right behind him that are just...
And they are very strong in the trenches.
Yes.
Very strong offensive line and defensive line.
And I think perhaps that's where we feel it the most in this game. And I just pray, I really pray for no injuries in any game, but this one, they're just going to wear on you. I think as the game goes along, by the fourth quarter, that's when my fear is our linemen are really going to start to be gassed, and just because I think Michigan's going to have the ability to rotate in those big guys a lot more than we do. They got much more depth at those big line positions than we do.
Sure. Now you see more rotation on defensive line, right? I mean, isn't the theory with an offensive line is they play as a unit? So as far as rotation, you don't rotate as much on an offensive line?
Well, for one thing, reacting is always takes more energy out of you. So as a defender, even as a lineman, you're exerting more energy defending as you are on offense. So that's one part of it. I think a team like Michigan are able to plug and play, if you will. So you pull out a right guard and stick in the number 2 right guard. These guys are they're good. I mean, and they know the play, and they know, at least that's been my take. When I watched their couple of games I was able to go through play by play, they don't miss a beat when they bring in the substitution. And so they're able to rotate more even on offense than I think we are. And that's what it wears on you throughout the game, of course.
Well, here's Coach Harbaugh on facing Nebraska.
Against the run, statistically, I guess, what does that do for the game plan? Do you lean into that? Do you think, okay, maybe we got to do other things, or do you continue to play your style?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the planning of it, and recognizing, how they're doing that. They're good, and they're really good at playing multiple fronts, multiple schemes. So it's going to be an important week of planning and preparation, and then we'll go compete and try to execute to the best of our ability.
That rush game, it looks pretty similarly successful on the other side. I think they're 6th in the country.
It's a great formula. Stopping the run and being able to run the ball is a winning formula in football. And we're just gonna have to play good. It will be a game of blocking, tackling, focusing on fundamentals, reads, getting off blocks, defeating blocks, playing the assignment, being in the right alignment, being in the right technique. A lot of focus on real football fundamentals.
He's got a firm grasp of the obvious.
I love head coaches and politicians.
Yeah.
They can talk without saying anything.
Without saying a word at all. Firm grasp of the obvious.
Well, I think when people see the stats of the Nebraska defense, number 1 in rush defense, and they look at the stats of the Nebraska offense, number 6 in the nation of rushing, no one believes that that's real. And so this is an opportunity to match up against the number 2 team in the nation, who frankly has really not played anyone so far this year, and they played all of them at home. So who are they? They haven't been tested. Who do we think they are? Yeah, we're like everyone else in the nation, and we think they are deserving of the number 2 ranking. But this is definitely an opportunity for Nebraska to come in and show the nation and prove to themselves and anyone else that that they're deserving of those stats, that they've actually been through a lot of adversity this year. They've been played on the road in extremely hostile places, and Michigan's faced none of that.
I think if those stats, if you could take away the turnovers, would really shine, because we'd be 3-1, or you know, or possibly even 4-0, but for certainly we'd be 3-1. And it's just unfortunate we had the turnovers, because it really, took away a lot from those other aspects of the game.
Right. Definitely, for sure.
And clearly, I mean, it goes without saying, we cannot turn the ball over against Michigan. If we're on the negative side of the turnover battle, we lose.
Well, it got pretty insightful, I thought, of here. I think what Nebraska needs to do is score more points than Michigan.
Interesting.
And if they score more points than Michigan, they'll win. But if they don't, then they're not going. They're going to lose.
Good time.
They may
So
lose.
we'll see. We'll see next week after this is done, and see if I was accurate in that prediction.
Whoever scores the most,
Pretty reliable,
points.
Rick. I think that's a good formula for
I think it might be a pretty damn accurate prediction.
I think that's pretty good.
Does Vegas have odds on that?
Well, they should. I'm telling you, you cannot lose with that one. But no, I think our strengths match against their strengths very well. Although I was surprised to see Michigan in their last game with Rutgers was pretty balanced in the run and the throw and the pass. So are they, why did that happen? And I know the game was close, through that first half and everything, but that's the formula Nebraska's trying to maintain too, is just that concept. You said, who's going to get worn down? That's the question. Who will get worn down? Because I think both teams play the style of offense that you don't really get worried if it's 14-7 at half, because you absolutely believe that you're wearing your opponent down, and in the second half, you're going to get more success, and you're going to score the bulk of your points in the second half. So I think both teams, stylistically, that's who they are. And I agree with you. Michigan's going to have a lot more depth with the program that he's had for many more years. Where Coach Rule, obviously, this is his first season, but this is definitely a chance for Nebraska to show that they're deserving of those statistical accomplishments that they have.
I think the depth actually came on. You talk about Michigan's depth. That was apparent in the Rutgers game, because Rutgers was undefeated going into that game.
Right.
I mean, they were both undefeated, and they held them with them. They hung with them for the first half.
Right. For a while.
And then that depth, man, just cycle somebody else in who's equally as talented. It wears you down.
That's my fear for the game coming up this Saturday, and that's just Michigan's. It's nothing new for Michigan. That's their formula for success. It has been for you develop. Harbaugh's amazing at developing players. He gets an advantage in recruiting, of course. The winners always do, but he really coaches well, and he really develops players. Matt Rule has, I think, the ability to be that kind of coach. And 5 or 6 years from now, we may have that program, but we're running up against a program that has that time put in already.
Right.
And we're just a first-year program running into them.
Well, if I have it right, no one has scored more than a touchdown against Michigan all season in the 4 games they've had at home. So it will be interesting to see if our offense could come out and get some successful drives, because I think that's going to, if we suddenly scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter or in the first half, now they're going to start thinking, well, we haven't faced anything like this. Again, Nebraska has been through a lot more adversity
True.
than Michigan has had this season. So it's going to be interesting.
And they had 4 straight games at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an quite an advantage, actually.
The first 3 without their coach, though.
Well, but they had him all week long. All
Right.
he did was sit in the booth instead of the sideline.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's Eastern Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and then their first Big Ten team was Rutgers.
Right.
So
that's kind of soft,
much
isn't it? For a number 2
that's
team
a
in the
pretty
country?
soft opening.
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
give you 4 games to get your stuff figured out.
Let your coach take a break for the first 3.
Interesting how that worked out, isn't it?
It really
Self-imposed, yeah.
From their perspective, the 2 playoff games on their schedule are clearly Ohio State and Penn State.
Oh yeah,
And that's who they're really every game in their minds, and I'm sure in their fan base's minds, is everything is just a prep for those 2 games.
So you bring up an interesting point. NCAA's looking to suspend him for 4 games. The investigation and penalty phase of that gets delayed a year. Michigan, meanwhile, steps up with their own internal investigation and does a 3-game suspension against that lineup. So are they going to expect that NCAA now comes in and says
1 game.
1 game?
Next year, the opener against the Sunnydale Nursing Home.
Is
Jim
that
Harbaugh will
not
not be on the
ridiculous or
sideline.
what? I think that 1-game suspension next year, the head coach of Ohio State should get to pick which game he sits out, which week. Because, it's just not right.
I wouldn't want that, though. That's such a great game. That's such a great game.
It is. You're gaming the system, picking your own punishment, taking the suspended games when you choose to.
Right.
It's just really.
Some would call that being proactive.
Well, if it works, it's smart, but it's still an atrocity, I think. That he's. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we shift to our final thoughts on the upcoming match with Michigan and give our predictions, decide whether it's real gold or a fool's gold. I've got. Let's shift to the QB competition and hash that out a little bit.
Be clear. So your approach to quarterbacks this week is how do you manage that this week?
I play the guy I think gives us the best chance to win. So it's unique in that I have a guy that was the starter that, couldn't finish the game really, and then I had another guy that was a starter this past game that couldn't finish the game. So I had 2 quarterbacks that couldn't finish the game. So for me to sit up here on a Monday and say this is what's happening, maybe this isn't like gamesmanship. I mean, both guys do the same thing really. So it's not like it's. I just my job is to get everybody ready because Chubba was going into the game as the number 3 and he was down there at the end of the game playing, right? So we get Chubba reps. Everything we do is reps.
Didn't do terrible
because
by the way.
I don't know who's going to play. I don't know who the hero is going to be this week. I don't know who the hero is going to be next week. So I don't know. So we just try to split the reps because we get so many reps because we're always doing multiple drills. It's the Nebraska way and we do it. So that helps us as opposed to most teams.
All right, Carl, I'm going to go to you first because you spoke on this a little bit earlier. So give us your thoughts on the QB battle, who should be starting, and the whys.
I think Harbaugh gives us a balanced attack. I think he hasn't turned the ball over a lot. He's athletic. He's quicker than you would think. So he can run. He throws the ball. He seems to make a little bit better decisions as far as his throws go. I think Harbaugh should be, if he's healthy. I mean, because of course, I think he should be the starter.
BB, what do you think?
I don't disagree with anything, and I hate to agree with Carl that much. It's troublesome to me, but
that had to hurt.
A little,
stung a little,
right in deep. It's for one thing, he's earned the job. He's performed at a level that your cat's has an opinion, so you'll have to go to him, Nick. It's clearly, but he did. He came out and he's played really strong his last 2 games. And I get it. People say the competition level was different and whatnot, but the decision-making was solid. When he put, the one thing I think a lot of people were saying was that Sims could run with the ball, where, they were questioning whether Harbaugh can. Personally, I think Harbaugh answered those questions.
Yeah,
clearly.
Pretty much.
He's faster than Sims. And, they're running that option play, which I really like that looks of that play. And, I think you get to you could use that against a team like Michigan, and I think you can get their defense to bite on the quarterback, and that's when you do that pitch out to the trailing running back. It just looked to me like that's a great play. I like it. And Harbaugh executes it excellently. He makes the right call, and it's paid off big.
Wouldn't you guys also say that Harbaugh probably has the locker room?
Yeah.
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
for sure.
And I think that, you can't underestimate that piece.
Right.
Is the leadership.
He has the locker room. He also has the stadium. He's a hometown
Yeah.
Nebraska guy. And, if you don't play well, then that doesn't mean a lot. But when you're playing at least as well and you're a year younger, I just don't see going to Sims. And I honestly, I think they're going to say he's not healed up enough yet to go in anyway.
Yeah, I think that's an excuse. I don't understand that with your if he took over 50% of the snaps the week before, going into last week's game. I obviously agree with you guys. I think you have to leave Harburg with the job until he loses the job.
Yep.
And then you bring Sims in.
That's
if you
there's
need
that
to.
wisdom that we love. It
Right.
goes right with if you score more points, you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his job until it's not.
Exactly.
No.
Okay.
Oh, very good.
You- and I'm doing that without the whiskey. That's amazing. No, I mean, we talked before, do you set him or do you allow him to compete or do whatever? We're past that now. He has to have some sort of breakdown, meltdown, something where the team would understand, more importantly, that they're making a change at quarterback and going back to Sims. Because if you did that now, the fans wouldn't understand it, that most of the team members wouldn't understand it, no one would get it. So,
Well, do you guys agree with me? We're going to battle and we're going to try to win this game and do our best. But to me, the heart of the season, the real can we make a bowl game starts after the Michigan game.
I do not agree at all with that.
I think you have to set the standard. I think you have to kind of set some sort of tempo.
Where I'm going with this is I think after the Michigan game is when you have it set in stone. This is my guy. This is who we're going with the rest of the year at every position. Minus injuries or something,
Sure.
whatever happens. A guy really fails miserably. But, if I was going to do any seeing who can do what, it would be in this game, not any of the games that follow after. Because I would say our goal at this point is to make a bowl game this year. And to get those wins in are going to come after Michigan.
I don't believe that. You have to play to win this game, 100%.
Of course you do. But your odds of winning the rest of the season are much greater than they are winning this Saturday. And you've got to be smart about it too, where after the Michigan game, you can evaluate how it's gone through the first 5 games. Who is your guy? Who's performed well? Who's going to be my quarterback, my running back, my people? And then you make your run for the bowl game.
I think they'll just keep evaluating people every week. And as they keep saying, they'll put the person that they believe gives them the best chance to win in every game. They'll just continue to do that every single game. And they better be, right now, they've shown enough on tape with Harburg that, and his run, that when they start to overcommit to that, they better now have some plays in this week that they can take advantage. Now they can throw a ball. They can get something open. They better be getting a game plan together, which I'm sure they are, which now the team's going to be looking at the success that we've been doing, and they better be ready to take advantage of teams being ready to cover that.
I kind of agree with you, Brian.
Thank you, girl.
I mean, I see what Rick is saying. I think this game, of course they're going to play to win. I think there is an evaluation piece for the rest of the season, though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to. Maybe I just don't articulate very well.
No, you do. Both of you don't make any sense.
Okay.
Both of you are wrong.
Okay.
Every single game is an evaluation game, and you're always evaluating the players. So they could have. He just doesn't want to say at quarterback who his starter is. So whether that's the way to keep players of that age happy these days and you keep them content, I don't know. But Harburg has clearly won the job, and I think it'll be his until he loses it. They better all go there with a mindset and play to win on Saturday. And then I think every week thereafter, the game after whoever becomes the quarterback after the Michigan game, and if they start sucking, they're going to get sat. You wouldn't keep playing them. So the evaluation of each player, I think, would just naturally continue, and you better play the best that can be played that day to win.
Okay.
But you can have your thoughts and your ideas.
Thank you, Rick.
Don't get beat down.
Going with that, so who do you predict to win Saturday?
Well, thanks for giving me that. I'm going to say True Gold. Nebraska upsets Michigan.
Homer.
We'll see. I think they match up well.
I like it.
I think they match up well. So then if I didn't pick them to win, I would say then everything they've accomplished under hostile circumstances has just been a fluke. I don't believe that. I think this defense is for real. I think Michigan's going to have a hard time getting ready for the 3-3-5 and the different things that he will bring for Michigan on that. I think the defense stands to the test, and I think Michigan's defense is very, very good. What's going to hurt them is not playing anyone up until this point. And they've been at home. They've had it pretty soft, and I think they're going to get smacked in the mouth, and that's going to be difficult for them to overcome. Can they? Yes. I predict that they will not, and Nebraska wins a close game. I will say 28-21. Okay. Nebraska wins it outright.
All right, there you go. Carl, what's your thoughts on the outcome this week?
Michigan 35-10, and Nebraska won't have the leading rushing defense after this game.
Okay.
Stop wiggling. Okay. Stop wiggling.
Nope. Can't do it.
We're getting all kinds of emails and comments. I'm going to have to weld that chair.
It's my thoughts on the game are somewhere between the two of you. I think Nebraska will beat the point spread. I think, unfortunately, we will lose this game. I would like to think that it's going to be a closer game. To me, it goes one or two ways. And it's just how well the conditioning program and all of that has been. We're going to be tested this week like we haven't been before in different ways. It'll be interesting to me to see how the big guys hold up with it. I see this thing as a 28-21 game, maybe even closer than that. But I do see Michigan coming out on top of this one.
Gotcha. So. Carl, are you is Montana at home?
They are. Idaho State.
So you'll be at the game?
I don't think so, because it's one thing, the way Montana's playing, I'm not real thrilled about it, but also it's supposed to be really crappy weather. So I'm not really sure I want to go sit in the rain.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
How's Idaho State this year? Normally they're not much.
I don't think they're much. I haven't heard anything at all about it.
This could be kind of a lackluster game then.
I wouldn't be surprised if Idaho State beats them.
Wow. All right.
Yep.
Bengals of Idaho State. Carl's favorite. Still upset. It's not even an upset, I suppose, anymore.
No, I don't really think it is.
So.
Well, I hope that's not true for you. I hope you get a win. You're happier when you get a win.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm happy all the time.
BB, you going to watch the game?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll watch, and I think I look for our special teams to hopefully improve. I would still put Bleak Road in. I don't think he was that bad last year. I know we missed a couple, but we've missed some this year too. I was real happy for him with that run. I wish he'd have got in the end
I wish
zone.
too. Yeah,
he
almost did.
I don't know if you see his social media, but his Twitter account, he had the tires, the tire drill where he said, I'll be working on this next week. So he's obviously making fun of himself for the footwork, but that was just super for him to have that opportunity to contribute like that. So, I think we can win the special teams battle. Bushini, I think, needs to hit some big ones in this game, and I hopefully the coverage team, which has been looking really good, down on the ball, maybe they can hopefully get that together. We hope they have a big game, and of course he's one of our Montana kids, so we always
right, of course.
But Yeah, no, I look for an exciting game. It should be a good game. I hope it's a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Anything else? Any shout outs to any Coast Guard folks?
Well, I'm always proud of our Coast Guard. You know, my son's up serving up in Alaska, so
they might be the only group that's listening to us. You said they listen to it. It
they do.
Helps them, gives them another reason than the sea to get sick.
The skipper and the crew on the cutter Reef Shark.
It's either that or listening to whales hump off the coast.
You know, that can be more entertaining anyway. So, but of course, shout out to them. And Carl, how about you? Any mental health points of the week?
No mental health points. Yeah. End of Suicide Prevention Month. So kind of now I'm just.
What number? What's the number to call, Carl? If you got a friend in
988.
And
988 if you have a friend in crisis.
Make the call.
Make the call, definitely.
Any of us can be there for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, Coach Rule did talk a little bit in his press conference on, again, bringing up mental health and the connection with everything they have in Nebraska. So definitely it's something which I think is getting more and more attention and a little bit of the spotlight, which is probably good. I mean, he said, again, hey, if you're hurt, you go to this. If you're sore, you go here. Even if you're not sore, but we have you go ahead and take an ice bath so you don't get sore. So even when you're, if you're having a problem, of course, go see the doc. And even when things are going good, keep going and seeing someone to and Carl says, of course, and I'll bill you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Takes insurance.
Yes. Takes insurance.
By the way, study came out today that taking ice plunges actually can reduce anxiety.
Really?
Yes.
Maybe we can get Joe Rogan to sponsor our show and get us an ice bath.
An ice plunge.
Could you get like a trough in here with ice?
Yeah.
Yes.
We could do an ice plunge.
Yes.
Oh, Carl's Garage. I think he offered that up.
Yes. You could do that. Yes.
All right, gentlemen. Well, it's probably time we wrap this up before we get into some topic we really didn't want to. But for Carl and BB, I'm Ricky J. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.